Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the news from Saba Satellite Channel from Marib. Let's begin with the headlines. President Al-Alimi awards Medal of Duty to late Iftihan al-Mashhari.
United Nations confirms the release of detained staff after Houthi raid in Sana'a.
Over 68,000 Palestinians killed in Gaza since October 2023. Welcome once again, and here are the details. President Dr. Rashad Mohammed Al-Alimi, President of the Presidential Leadership Council, has awarded the Medal of Duty to Iftihan al-Mashhari, Director General of the Cleanliness and Improvement Fund in Taiz Governorate, who was killed by criminal gunmen on September 18th while performing her public service duties.
During the ceremony at Al-Ma'ashiq's palace, President Al-Alimi said the honor reflects the state's deep appreciation for Iftihan's integrity, courage and devotion, describing her as a symbol of commitment and public responsibility. He emphasized that her sacrifice represents every Yemeni woman and man serving their country with dedication amid difficult circumstances caused by the Iran-backed Houthi militias' war.
The president confirmed that authorities have arrested the main perpetrators and that investigations are underway under the supervision of specialized criminal prosecution, affirming full judicial independence in ensuring justice. President Al-Alimi pledged continued support for the victims' families and renewed the government's commitment to justice, accountability, and restoring citizens' confidence in the rule of law. Iftihan's father, Muhammad al-Mashhari, expressed gratitude for the president's compassion and efforts of Taiz security forces.
Member of the Presidential Leadership Council, Dr. Abdullah Al-Alimi, met today with the French ambassador to Yemen, Catherine Korm-Kamoun, to discuss the latest developments in Yemen and ways to strengthen bilateral relations. Al-Alimi expressed appreciation for France's continued support to the Presidential Council and the government, particularly in economic reforms and backing the central bank.
He affirmed the Council's unity and determination to end the Houthi coup, restore state institutions, and ease citizen suffering through enhanced public services and stability in liberated areas. The French ambassador briefed Al-Alimi on outcomes of her visit to Aden, reiterating her country's full support for Yemen's leadership and efforts to restore stability and peace in cooperation with regional and international partners.
Member of the Presidential Leadership Council, Dr. Abdullah Al-Alimi, received South Korea's ambassador to Yemen, Do Bong-Kei, on the occasion of the 40th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the Republic of Yemen and the Republic of Korea.
During the meeting, Dr. Al-Alimi expressed deep appreciation for South Korea's continuous support to Yemen through development and humanitarian assistance and political backing in international forums, particularly at the UN Security Council. He commended the efforts of the Korea's International Cooperation Agency for implementing health, education, and capacity building projects that have benefited thousands of Yemenis, reaffirming the Council's commitment to strengthening cooperation with Korea in all areas.
Dr. Al-Alimi also highlighted the unity and cohesion of the Presidential Leadership Council and its commitment to advancing economic and institutional reforms. For his part, Ambassador Do Bong-Kei praised the strong partnership between the two countries and reaffirmed Seoul's continued support for Yemen's peace, stability, and development efforts.
Member of the Presidential Leadership Council, Tariq Saleh, affirmed that the national resistance is enhancing its military readiness on land and at sea to restore the state and end the Houthi coup, stressing that peace will only come through strength and unity. During his visit to the 7th Giants Brigade at the close of combat training programs for all resistance units, Saleh said the resistance remains committed to supporting development efforts alongside military operations.
He revealed that 2 smuggling shipments carrying nearly 3 million detonators and explosive fuses were intercepted, part of Iran's efforts to arm the Houthis. Saleh praised the sacrifices of soldiers across Yemen's fronts and vowed to liberate Sana'a and all areas under Houthi control, declaring that Republic's flag will remain high. He warned against division and disinformation, including falsehoods spread through artificial intelligence, and reaffirmed that Iran's regional project has failed, while Arab nations lead genuine peace efforts.
Minister of Public Health and Population, Dr. Qasim Bahaibeh, inaugurated today in Aden the Consular Coordination Office of the Republic of India, marking a new step in strengthening bilateral relations and facilitating consular services, particularly for medical and educational visas.
Speaking at the opening ceremony, attended by India's Deputy Chief of Mission Abu Mazen Jod and officials from the Ministries of Health and Foreign Affairs, the minister praised India's continued support to Yemen, especially in the health sector, describing it as a preferred destination for Yemenis seeking treatment and education due to its medical excellence and renowned institutions.
Dr. Bahaibeh affirmed that the new office reflects the deep-rooted friendship between the two countries and will greatly ease travel procedures for Yemenis, while encouraging other nations to relocate the embassies and missions to Aden, which he described as the government's legitimate and secure capital. For his part, the Indian diplomat said the new office embodies the long-standing Yemen-India partnership and will enhance communication, provide faster consular services, and open new avenues for cooperation in health, education, and capacity building.
The United Nations has confirmed that 12 of its staff members have left Sana'a, days after being detained by the Houthi militia, which is listed internationally as a terrorist organization, following the storming of a UN compound. In a statement carried by Reuters, the Office of the UN Secretary General's spokesperson said the 12 staff who had been held were released and allowed to leave Sana'a, while 3 others were permitted to move and travel freely.
The Houthis had detained 20 UN employees, including 15 foreigners, during a raid on one of the organization's facilities on October 18th, an act widely condemned by human rights groups as a direct attack on humanitarian personnel in a war-bound country. The releases followed intense diplomatic efforts by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who held phone calls with the foreign ministers of Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Oman to discuss developments in the Middle East, including the situation in Yemen.
The UN delegation reaffirmed the envoy's commitment to inclusive dialogue with all Yemeni stakeholders, recognizing Hadramaut's vital role in achieving lasting peace across the country. In areas under Houthis' control, millions of civilians live under fear, repression, and worsening poverty as aid deliveries are blocked and rights violations multiply. Human rights groups warn that the Houthis' actions are deepening what the United Nations already calls one of the world's worst humanitarian disasters. More details in the following report.
In areas under Houthi control, including the capital Sana'a, millions live under siege and fear. According to the latest Human Rights Watch report, more than 18 million Yemenis need humanitarian assistance. The Houthis have tightened restrictions on civil society, obstructed aid delivery, and launched cross-border and maritime attacks that further destabilize the region. The Houthi record on human rights is alarming. Since mid-2024, they have detained and forcibly disappeared dozens of civilians, including at least 17 United Nations staff. A Yemeni rights group documented 7,885 violations by Houthi forces between January 2024 and March 2025, including killings, abductions, and landmine use. Women's freedoms have been sharply curtailed. They cannot travel without a male guardian and face increasing barriers to work and education. Humanitarian organizations face mounting threats. The Houthis block aid convoys, interfere with distribution, and restricts monitoring. Outbreaks of preventable diseases are rising, including cholera, which claimed 258 lives and infected 95,000 people. Mines and unexploded ordnance killed 49 and injured 66 civilians last year, many of them children. The crisis extends to migrants and refugees, as more than 300,000 people sought humanitarian protection in Yemen in 2024. In late 2025, Houthi forces raided UN offices in Sana'a and Hodeidah, seizing equipment and detaining staff, a move condemned as a violation of international humanitarian law. The Houthi aggression is not only a war for territory, it is a war against human dignity. Until accountability and humanitarian access are restored, millions of Yemenis will continue to pay the price.
The University of Saba region has won first place in the National Quality Week evaluation for the 2024-2025 academic year, ranking highest among Yemen's public and private universities. The award was presented to University President Dr. Mohammed Al-Qadasi during a ceremony organized by the Academic Accreditation and Quality Assurance Council in Aden, under the patronage of the Minister of Higher Education, Dr. Khalid Al-Wasabi, who praised the university's achievements in promoting academic excellence.
Dr. Al-Qadasi dedicated the honor to all university staff, emphasizing teamwork and commitment to raising academic standards. He also expressed gratitude to Vice President of the Presidential Leadership Council and Governor of Marib, Lieutenant General Sultan Al-Arada, for his continued support of higher education. He reaffirmed the university's commitment to applying quality and accreditation standards across all areas of academic and institutional development.
The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, has strongly condemned the Israeli Knesset's approval of a draft law aimed at annexing the occupied West Bank and imposing Israeli sovereignty over it, along with another bill to legalize an illegal settlement.
In a statement issued Thursday, the OIC described these moves as a flagrant violations of international law, relevant UN resolutions, and the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice, as well as the New York Declaration. The organizations also welcomed the ICJ advisory opinion, which reaffirmed Israel's legal and humanitarian obligations to facilitate the work of UN relief agencies, particularly UNRWA, and to hold accountable those responsible for attacks on its staff and facilities.
The OIC reiterated that the occupied Palestinian territories, including Gaza, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem, form a single geographical and legal entity over which Israel has no sovereignty. It urged the international community and the UN Security Council to take immediate action to halt Israeli aggressions, Israeli violations, undermining the two-state solution and efforts to achieve justice, peace, and stability in the region.
The Ministry of Health in Gaza announced Thursday that the death toll from Israel's war on the enclave has risen to 68,280 Palestinians, with 170,375 others wounded since October 2023. In its daily report, the ministry said that the hospital in Gaza received 14 martyrs and 2 injured people over the past 24 hours, including 13 whose bodies were recovered after being killed in previous days or weeks.
The report added that a Palestinian was killed by direct targeting from the Israeli army, while many victims remain under the rubble and one on the routes, as rescue teams are still unable to reach them. According to the ministry, Israeli forces have killed 89 Palestinians and injured 317 others, and 449 bodies have been recovered since the ceasefire took effect earlier this month.
The first phase of the ceasefire agreement began on October 10th, following 2 years of Israeli genocide in Gaza. The deal is based on a plan proposed by US President Donald Trump, reached between Hamas and Israel through indirect talks in Sharm el-Sheikh, with the participation of Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey under the US supervision. Since October 8, 2023, Israel, with US support, has carried out a 2-year campaign of killing, starvation, destruction, and forced displacement, ignoring international appeals and orders from the International Court of Justice to halt the assault.
This has been the news from Saba Satellite Channel. Thank you for watching and have a good time.